Hello and welcome to this edition of Real Talk. We've made it through a very strange second trimester, and it looks like this trimester is going to come with a lot of positive changes. Even with the strange year, students are still planning for their futures. We caught up with a few people here at HCEC-TV doing just that.
Hi, my name is Sarah McNeil, and I'm an Early College Academy senior. I love this program because it's more challenging than traditional high school classes, and I feel like I'm learning more towards my profession of choice.
My name is Alessandra Lozano. I'm currently studying journalism and creative writing right now. My plans for the future, though, are to major in biochemical engineering at UKY and minor in journalism, which is what I'm doing.
My name is Sierra Spell, and I am in the early college pathway at EC3. My favorite part about this pathway is that it is gearing me up for whenever I have my university career. I plan on going to the University of Louisville. It's a great pathway, and I've had a great 2 years in it.
Okay, my name is Laura Hasune. I go to EC3 and I do the nursing pathway. And in the future, I want to be a surgeon and study at UK.
My name is Chris. I'm in the engineering pathway. I chose the engineering pathway because engineering is going to be what the future is, helping to fix all the machinery and everything that's inevitably coming. Whenever I finish this pathway, I plan to go on and get a master's degree in civil or mechanical engineering, or possibly both if all goes well.
Many people in our community struggle, and the local agency works very hard to fill their needs. Kaylin spent some time at a recovery center to bring us the story.
We are an addiction medical home, so we treat patients for primary care for things like diabetes, hypertension, or sinus infection. Then we also do medication-assisted treatment for addiction, and then we do behavioral health services. We offer individual and group therapy here.
My name is Joyce Johnson. I am the clinical director of outpatient services. I've been with intensive health for 4.5 years, and I've been in the clinical director role for 2.5 years. I hope that intensive health gives patients a community that they can develop for themselves. I hope that intensive health in the long run assists people in improving their lives and continuing in long-term sobriety. My main focus when helping the patients is to make sure that they have the resources that they need to be sober, they have the resources that they need to create a community, and they have the resources that they need to live a healthy lifestyle. With the pandemic, our patients have experienced a lot more mental health crisis. They've experienced a lot more overdose and a lot more relapse. This is challenging for us as providers, but it's also challenging for patients to continue down the path that they want to be on in the face of such adversity.
I take in all the new patients. I take all the requests when someone calls and says, I want to come to your doctor's office or I want to get addiction treatment. They come to me first. And so then I kind of figure out what they need, invite them in to sit down and do some paperwork and get them in our system, make sure their insurance is taken care of, make sure that we just know who they are, that they understand what they're coming for, and that I'm getting them scheduled to the right people. The way I try to help the patients is by getting them past me to the people who really know what to do to help them. And so what I want to do is make it easy for them and comfortable to come in. When you go to a new place, you don't know how it all works. I want to make it really easy and simple and comfortable.
Our patient population often feels hopeless, so it's really nice to work in a place where we can cheer them on and watch them succeed. All of our patients really mean a lot to us, so on the rare occasion that we lose one to overdose or another type of illness aside from addiction, it's really difficult. Addiction never stops, so we don't get to either. Even though a lot of places have shut down because of COVID, we have had to go above and beyond even more because it has been so difficult for our patients. So knowing that they need us is kind of a driving force for me.
It's frustrating because, when you really care about someone, you want them to be healthy, you want them to take care of themselves, and it's just, sometimes it's very hard to get them to follow direction. And that's all patients, our primary care patients, as well as our MAT patients. To get a person to get on a medication regimen, even like a person with diabetes, to get them to follow that, to stay on track with that, is almost impossible.
A peer support specialist is a person who has a lived experience with addiction, mental health issues, and then the experience of like recovering from those issues, kind of learning how to like live and thrive in society while simultaneously dealing with those issues. And then they use that experience to help people like them.
We schedule all the appointments, we take the phone calls, we do medical records requests, we pretty much make sure the flow of the office is smooth, get the patients in and out, and get them rescheduled. The biggest struggle, I think, for the patients is trying to get here. Not a lot of them have transportation or having to take off work to come in for their appointments. A lot of jobs are not very understanding when people are trying to get off to come to appointments.
The best part of my job is the patients and getting to have a hand in their recovery journey and just see their growth in all their aspects of their life, especially when you see them from day one and they literally like are at rock bottom. Then seeing them in the next time and just watching them grow and the goals that they meet, and I mean even their appearance, like how much healthier they look and just everything. That it's humbling and it's inspirational, and I learned so much here too.
Because I love my patients. I truly do. I love my job. So there's no question. I mean, I don't, there's just no question. I would do it. It doesn't matter.
Well, we give everybody a goal and a purpose to work towards. We encourage them in their recovery. We don't work harder than they do for their recovery, so we encourage them all to take part in that and to keep going and moving towards their goal.
For the last year, reading has become a great escape from the craziness of the pandemic. Alyssa stopped by the Central Hardin Library to find out what it's been like this year and learn how you can still check out books.
We're at the Central Hardin High School library right now, and just like everything, the pandemic has definitely changed everything. Today we're going to interview Mrs. Rawlings, and we're going to figure out just what those things are that have changed.
I am one of the librarians here at Central Hardin High School. This is my 7th year, I believe, that I've been here. The only thing that we have changed was the adding of the gloves and or now the germ solution. So we have had to change the rules. We have to consider social distancing with the children. Typically before, students would just come in and they would peruse the books on their own without having to have any kind of a safety measure to consider germ transfer. We also have changed the layout of the library during this process. We have gone from the typical fiction books being on shelf by author last name, ABC order, to putting them in genre classifications. Other changes that you would see if you come to our library today, we are not near as busy as we used to be. It's very sad, actually. I miss having all our students. We are not having as many classes that come in and do research on our computer side, so that has been a big change. Another big change is we don't have our student workers. It's kind of been very lonely this year. We just don't have the traffic that we used to have and the noise levels that I actually enjoy, so that's been a very difficult thing to adjust to this year. This year we did add an online option for our students. They have been assigned a username and password, but they would go through Destiny and log into the Mackin program, and there are over 8,000 titles available to these students that they can check out online. If students were to have questions about the library, The best place to go is to our library page, which you can get to through the Central Hardin page. It's on the very front of the Central Hardin page. There's a Library Media Center tab. They can click on that. They can email Ms. Hunley or myself. And we really miss our students and want them to be able to come back and to utilize this library, and we work very hard to have many options for our students to be able to access resources and library books. Ms. Hunley and I are very much lovers of reading and books and our students, and we miss them desperately and look so forward to having our library full again and utilized. One of the things that we enjoyed about having students in the Media Center is the interaction, and we look forward to getting back to some form of normal and having this be a vibrant place and hopefully the heartbeat of the school once again.
Did you know you can choose over 10 pathways here at EC3? It's an incredible opportunity to come here, explore the future professions, and prepare yourself for the real world. Bradley spent some time in the health sciences department speaking with some of the students.
Pathway is a group of classes that prepares you to work in the healthcare industry whenever you graduate out of high school.
So the Healthcare Pathway is a group of classes that help to prepare you for healthcare professions that you'd like to go into. It gives you a little head start on what you're looking into, doing in the healthcare profession.
So the skills we learn in here, we can take and go to clinicals and do them on real patients.
For the pathway that I did in CNA, becoming a nursing assistant, I was really able to get a view of what it's like to actually take care of elderly patients and the skills that you need to do so and things like that, so yeah.
It's more hands-on experience in real-world situations. So you go to the hospital or a nursing home, and then you do, under the supervision of an older CNA, what you're going to do in the future.
In the health science career pathway, there are 4 programs of study: State Registered Nurse Assistant, Certified Phlebotomy Technician, Certified Pharmacy Technician, and Certified EKG Technician. Successful completion of any of these programs will fulfill the state or national requirements for that pathway.
This pathway preps you for a lot in the healthcare field. A lot of the basic skills you would need to really be successful in the healthcare pathway. It really gives you a good basis of what you're getting into being part of the medical field and what it's going to be like.
Some of the skills you need to be successful is be a team player, problem solving on your feet, and prioritizing your time.
One of the things that surprised me was how the training that I got, how I was able to incorporate that. I was able to remember everything, and I really felt that I got really good training, and I felt really confident at the end of the course.
I say that the benefit of being in this pathway is I've gotten a job from it already, so I get to do that and then continue my training, and then it will help me in the future because I can have all of that experience already.
Some advice that I would give is definitely just go for it. Just if you're thinking about getting involved in something, definitely go for it and just get your foot in the door. Just do it and you'll feel so much better afterwards. So.
Many people find time giving back to community by volunteering. Last year, the new Habitat Restore opened in E-Town. Recently, Jeremy sat down with the CEO to learn more about it and how you can volunteer.
Hello everyone, thank you for watching. Today we have Scott Turner from the Habitat for Humanity Restore. Today we are socially distanced, so we can go ahead and take off our masks. Now, Scott, can you please tell us exactly who you are and what you do for the Restore?
Okay. So my name is Scott Turner. I'm the CEO for Hardin County Habitat for Humanity. Part of my responsibility is overseeing the Restore. Also do the construction site and grants, different things to fulfill the mission for Habitat. But from a Restore standpoint, which is what we're going to talk about today, I do have a Restore manager and some staff there, but so I don't do the day-to-day, but oversee a lot of things going on there.
What exactly is the mission of the Restore?
The main purpose of the Restore is to, we take donated items from people around Hardin County, whether in pretty much anything except for mattresses and clothing. Anything else, people can call us, schedule a pickup, we'll come and get it, donation. But the primary mission is to generate funds so that we can use those funds to build homes for low-income families in Hardin County.
The Restores have helped divert more than 2,000 tons of garbage from local landfills. How do you think this progress will help Hardin County in general?
Well, it's, as I said, we call, or we have people call us to make donations. So obviously, it's springtime, going into spring, so people will start doing their spring cleaning. And I'm not sure what, with the virus and all of that, I'm not sure what's going to be acceptable. But I guess I foresee as people are doing spring cleaning, they may not be comfortable having a yard sale. So in place of doing that, since they can't have a yard sale, they could be disposing of this stuff into the landfill. But instead of that, they can call us, we'll come pick it up. As long as it's in good shape, we'll come and get it, and then we take it to the store, we clean it up, we'll resell it, and again, the main thing with the Restore is we sell those items and then the profit goes to building the homes.
Is there anything that you would change about Habitat for Humanity or the Restore itself, if you could?
Well, we actually just made a huge change. Last July, we opened up the store on Ring Road, which has been a huge blessing for us. We were, the prior 10 or 15 years, we've been, it's a nice location, but it was kind of off the beaten path, you may say. This building being on Ring Road, the visibility, the traffic count is so much better. So we've really been doing well. Obviously with any building, now that we're in it for a little over 6 months, the biggest thing, would probably be just space. Doesn't matter whether you're building a business or a home or a garage, whatever, it can always be bigger. But that's kind of where we're at. But it's going well.
How do you think Habitat for Humanity is trying to make a more integrated society with their housing?
Well, our program goes beyond just the housing. There is a whole application process which takes months to do. We are equal opportunity, doesn't matter, there's absolutely zero discrimination. It's, we take people that apply for our homes. There's a long, like I said, several month process to go through. And for the most part, when we have a committee that makes the final decision on the families, and they don't, at one point, they never have met the families. They don't know other than a name, family makeup, because we have to know how many people are in the family so we know what size home to build. But they're just seeing a name on a paper and their living conditions, that type thing. So, so from that standpoint, it's open. It's, you know, from a fair standpoint, it's open to everybody. And then we, for the most part, it's as the families apply and they're the ones that are accepted. That's for the most part how the order that we're building the homes in, and it's what property we have available. So we're just, you know, our biggest thing is trying to improve the communities. We are right now, we're building some of the most energy efficient homes in the state. We've actually, one of the last neighborhoods that we built in, we built 26 homes, and we raised the property value for the existing families that were there. We raised that property value up about 26%. So we're trying to not just put families in homes, habitat families in homes, we're also looking at improving the existing neighborhood that's there. We helped, we partnered with the city of Elizabethtown a lot, and we helped do a community garden in one of the neighborhoods, a park in one of the neighborhoods. So it's all about bringing the community together, not just that one specific home or those few specific habitat homes. It's about the entire community when we're there.
That is actually very interesting, and I think that more people should try and see that and try and help in some way, because it helps the community and the nation, even small changes.
Right.
In 1969, when the first partnership house made by Partnership Housing and the Fund for Humanity, which was what Habitat for Humanity has become, or has turned into Habitat. If you were working with them back then, how do you think that it would have how do you think it would have been now?
Well, you know, hindsight's 20/20. So there's a lot of things that, you know, we could always go back and do better. But I think for the most part, the way I look at things is, you know, you learn from your mistakes, you know, and not that they made mistakes, they were doing good. But, you know, getting, really pushing to get more people involved, and not just financially, but from a volunteer standpoint. It could have grown even faster. You know, we've put millions of families, low-income families, into homes, and just to clarify, you know, there is a mortgage on these homes. We're not giving away cheap homes to low-income families. These are well-built homes, and we are doing an affordable mortgage on these homes. But I think from a history standpoint, I think if there had been a way to promote it even more, faster. Unfortunately now, with the whole COVID thing, our volunteerism, and to some degree the fundraising has just, as the virus increased, the volunteers decreased. We actually, the last couple of homes have had just very, very few volunteers. So we're starting to get past this virus now. I'm starting to get some phone calls on groups wanting to volunteer. So that would be the big thing, I would ask now, and not just at our homes, but also at our restore. We can always use volunteers at the restore. And there's something for everybody. Obviously at the construction site, they have to be over 16 to volunteer there. But there's no skill required, just a willingness to work. And at the Restore, kind of the same thing. We just want people that want to come and help us so that we can help other families.
Speaking of volunteering, how exactly would someone go about applying to volunteer for you all?
It's really simple. They just have to call up. They can call our office. They can call the Restore. They can call my number. They're all three on the website, and just tell us where they would like to volunteer. For the Restore, Tuesday through Saturday is the days that we're open, 8:30 to 4:30. The construction site, there's limited hours at the construction site, so we would have to schedule that with them. But yeah, just call, like I say, they can go online, look at our website, find the phone numbers, or they can just stop by the Restore anytime, and they will give them information for the Restore and the construction site. We'll get them signed up and get them plugged in. And say, some people are intimidated about being at the construction site, but once they get there and start helping, they realize, anybody can do it. It's just, you just need a little guidance, and that's what we're there for.
What do you think is the most important thing that you do with them?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I think really pushing our mission, to provide a nice quality home for families that, if it wasn't for Habitat, they would never have a home of their own. Kind of the American dream is owning your own home. These families may not have a good credit score, probably wouldn't qualify for a conventional mortgage. So we are an alternative for that. But then, in addition to that, I think, obviously when you put these families that have never owned a home before, they get that dream of owning their own home, it changes their whole world. It changes their way of thinking. It changes not just them, but for it's a generational change. We've had families that, with children, that they've nowhere to study, to do homework. Now, these children have their own bedroom, and they have a place to study. And we've seen children that have started excelling in school. And then it goes from there, and then those kids get older, and they have kids, and when they get out on their own, it can change generations to come, just changing one family.
What happens if someone donates something to you that doesn't work? What do they do with it, since you don't take things that don't work?
Well, I mean, we have people that will donate stuff to us, and we test everything before we put it out on the floor. There's times that we'll get something that doesn't work, and we'll look at it. It may be something we can fix, and then, if we can fix it, we'll sell it. Obviously, if we can't, then we have to throw it away, which is kind of why we're a little bit selective, because the more stuff we've got to throw away, the higher our garbage bill is, and so we want to keep that down, which is why we want to, want people to donate, working items.
Why should donors trust Habitat for Humanity as opposed to some other organization?
Well, and I don't have the results from last year yet. They haven't come out. It'll be in a month or so. But if you look back over the past, I believe it's almost 5 years in a row now, Habitat for Humanity has been voted the most trustworthy nonprofit in the United States. And the primary area of trust is on use of funds. So, when somebody comes in and makes a donation, whether it be monetary or goods or property. You know, we take donated property as well because that's where we build our homes. They know where it's going to go. They know that it's going to be used to help families. That's what we do. And you know, our books are all open. If somebody wants to, you know, see what we do, you know, we're more than happy to show them exactly where the money's going. We're an open book, and you know, we just want to have people feel confident in the money that they're helping us with, helping other families with.
Would it be okay if you shared one or two stories of individuals' lives who have been changed because of what you do?
Yeah, I've had, you know, just a couple specific cases. I had met a lady. A lot of our families are single mothers. And I met a lady, this is a couple years ago, and during the home visit for to get the application process started, she had her grandson, who was probably 8 or 9 at the time, and he you know, he was a good kid, but the neighborhood that they were living in, she wouldn't let him go outside. It was a rough neighborhood. And so after they qualified, we built the house, we got the family in there, moved in, and several months later, we were building a house down the street. So one Saturday morning, while I was down at the construction site, I left to go get some construction materials, and I drove by, and she had also told me that, she said, you know, most of the time, particularly Saturdays, her grandson, you know, she wouldn't let him go outside, so he sat in the living room watching TV, watching cartoons, or playing video games. That's how he spent his Saturdays. So this particular Saturday, I was driving to go get some construction materials, and there were 4 Habitat homes, all of them, you know, built side by side or across the street from each other. They all had children, and I'm driving down the road. I stop. I see 4 of the young boys outside playing basketball in one of the driveways. No parents around. They're just out there having a good time playing. And this particular boy, he looks over at me, and I'm stopped out on the edge of the road, and he does one of these kind of NBA moves and hits the bucket, and he turns around, and he's got this huge smile on his face. And I guess my first thought was my conversation I had 2 years prior to that she wouldn't let him out of the house because of the conditions of the neighborhood. And now, 2 years later, here's this little boy being a little boy outside playing basketball with other kids and enjoying life. And so now his whole future is changing. And you know, they don't need to be cooped up in a house. They need to be outside. They need to have friends and, you know, have a normal life. And that's what we've helped them do. Another family that we had, periodically I have to stop by and update paperwork. So we had a family that their house was going to be a few months before we started it, and I stopped by her house to update some paperwork. I go in, and this is a rental property. The families that we build homes for, this has to be, had to be a first-time homeowner. So I go to where she's renting, and she asked me in. She's coughing, and then coughing and just nonstop almost. And I sat down on a couch. She goes to get some paperwork, and she flips her bedroom light on. Of course, there's no doors, but the first thing I see is this tarp hanging from her ceiling. And so she comes back in and she apologizes for, she hadn't been there for a couple weeks to do their hours, get hours in. But she said, you know, I've had this bad cough, and she said my daughter just got out of the hospital for some upper respiratory problems. And I asked her if I could walk in her bedroom, and I go in there, and the reason the tarp was on the ceiling is the roof was leaking. So she had this tarp funneling down to a garbage can. So when it rained, it would come in and go down in there. And then I look at the wall, and it's black from mold. And I told her, I said, it's no wonder, you know, you're coughing, your daughter's got breathing problems, you're living in this mold. And so we were able to, just because of some other situations, we were able to move her up in the queue there to get her out of that living condition a little bit quicker. And we actually, she was able to move in before we would have ever had her house started. And I spoke with her, this has been a year or so ago as well, and spoke with her a few months ago, and they're both doing great, healthy, no issues. So there's a lot of ways that you can change their life, and that was one that, you know, just thank goodness we got there, because a lot of those issues, particularly with mold, it can make a lifetime effect on a person, you know, affect them for their life. But they're both doing great now, so it was good to see.
That is very good, and I'm glad that you were able to help them. What is your organization's goals for this coming year?
Right now, hopefully, of course, our fiscal, you know, we kind of set our goals by our fiscal year, which is July 1st through June 30th. So we've got a few more months of our existing year to go. But our goal for the year is to build 4 homes. Obviously, that's assuming that the whole virus thing slows down some and people start getting out volunteering, as well as that people continue or kind of get back in the mode of donating, because we've had to cancel a lot of our fundraisers, in-person fundraisers. So now we're relying more on individual donations. So assuming the funding comes in, assuming the volunteers come in, we really want to try to build 4 homes this year. That's kind of average where we have been. We realize if you go back a couple years, our goal now would be to be building 5 or 6 homes, but who knew the virus was going to be here? So, but if we could build 4 homes, that'd be great. And we know the funding, one way or the other, the funding will come in. So we just need some help, volunteers to help us build the homes.
What would happen if the Restore or Habitat in general could not fulfill these goals?
Well, I mean, for the most part, it just means there's a family out there that's not going to get a home. They're not going to see, like I said, that American dream of getting in a home. They still, you know, right now, we have 4 families on the list, or actually 5 families on the list. And if we only build 3 this year, then those 2 families, they're still going to be on the list. It's just going to be further down the road before they're able to get a home, get moved into. But it also delays the next round of applications, getting more families, you know, approved in the list.
How can donors help other than just donating things to the Restore?
Well, like I say, the big thing is, you know, financially. If and you know, they can go on our webpage, they can come to the store, they can donate, they can, but not just money. They can donate time, you know, as well. But excuse me. Yeah, I would love to have, one of my other goals is, as I mentioned earlier, the Restore's open Tuesday through Saturday. Pre-COVID, we were open 6 days a week, but we had some, I guess you would say, full-time volunteers. Somebody that would do, and they weren't doing every day. It's just I had some people that were doing 8 hours a day on this day, and another person 8 hours a day on this day. When we get that, we're able to spread the schedule out. So if I could get some people that wanted to volunteer more full-time, a full day consistently, then we're able to move our staff around a little bit, and my goal would be to open Monday through Saturday. And again, that helps us more sales, taking more donations, and at the end of the day, more profits coming in so that we can build more homes.
Well, that's all the questions I have. Thank you for coming in today, and thank you for watching.
Well, that's it for this edition. Enjoy your spring break, and we'll see everybody back on the 12th.